Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm working on some of my group builds here. This is for the group build for the Street Machine from Blue Box Models. So go check out Jason's channel. Get yourself in on this. This is a pretty cool build. There's a lot of guys in on it. And I'm doing two builds for this. So I originally announced I was going to do a 69 Shelby GT500. And I'm also going to do this one here. And I'm not going to run the Chevy small block in it. Instead, I'm going to put a Predator engine out of a Mustang. So we're going to put this off to the side for right now, and we're going to assemble this Predator engine. So this engine came from RAZNKANE's from Chris. Here's his card. And you can check him out on Facebook and Instagram. And he's got a real cool card. So man of my own heart, he's got the old Fox body in there. Yes, sir. Beautiful. Loving it. So I picked this up for him at the Detroit show, and I don't know if you guys have done a lot of resin engines or not, but I'm telling you what, this thing is super detailed. I mean, this is like really, really detailed. Amazing. Very, very intricate. So, I mean, this even has the holes for the starter, all that stuff. So looking closer at this engine, to show you what you get in the kit when you buy one of these. So we got our front timing cover, get all your accessories on there. Looks like you even got a crank seal in there. You also get a you also get a throttle body assembly. You can see the blade in there. You can see the screws for the blade. Very detailed. So we get our oil pan, and check out these cylinder heads. I mean, these are awesome looking. So let's see here. I mean, check this out. It's even got the cam caps in there, and you can see the bolts with the cam caps. How detailed is that? So check out the bottom of them. Really cool looking. Sorry about my fingers, guys. I mean, I do work for a living, so it's it is what it is. So check that detail out. Isn't that cool? All the jackets in there, all the holes, valve holes, spark plug. Everything's there. Very, very nice. So, and then we got our other small parts here. So we got our coolant bypass. We got our crank pulley and a cool set of headers here. Those are really neat looking. And also we have our engine block. So check out the detail in this block. Let's pull this out and open over here. So look at the webbing on the top of that. How cool is that? It's even got the holes for the knock sensors. Everything is there. Got all our holes in the back. You can get the holes for the plate for your rear main. Like I say, all your water jacket holes are there. All the webbing in the block. How cool that is. So looking at underneath, we can see the 6-bolt main caps. So on these Ford engines, you have 4 on the top, and then there's 1 on each side of the block. So they're pretty sturdy, stout engines, and just really neat detail. So we have our spot for our water pump. So along with this, we also have our supercharger. So again, really nice detailed piece. You got your water outlets for the supercharger. You got all your little intricate pieces on there. On the fuel rail, you can get the little nib sticking off there for the fuel line to go in. So you can really detail this out. Got all your injectors on there. Like I say, all the correct webbing is in there. Just super nice. Even the bottom of it's detailed. Even something that you would never see. So this would be a cool item to put on a bench for a diorama. Something like that. So it's pretty nice looking. So you also get in this kit, we got a water pump, and you have an oil filter housing. So these engines use a cartridge style filter. And like I say, we got our water pump here. Very nice. And we got our alternator. So check this alternator out. Look how detailed that is. You even got a bolt. We got a bolt in there for the alternator. How cool is that? All the webbing and everything. I mean, that thing is tiny, tiny. So then we have our valve covers, very detailed. So I'll just pull one of them up here. So you can even see the Power by Ford script on there. Turn that around, we get the right way. So this is obviously our right side valve cover. There we go. So as you got your oil cap in there, you got your VCT solenoid sticking out of the front, up top there by the cap. So you could really detail those out nice. And it's got your spots for your all your bolt holes and everything. So very, very nice detail. Very nice. So yeah, very cool. Obviously there's no instructions in this kit, but you really can't mess it up, because you got, you got your engine block sitting here, and you get your cylinder head. So you got cylinder head number 1. Well, obviously you got intake on this side and exhaust on that side. So this is the front of the head. So obviously that's going to go that side, and then the other one on the other side. So it's not too hard to figure out where everything goes. So yeah, so we're going to get this painted up, and let's see how she looks here. Alright guys, so we got this separated out. So I'm going to do the manifolds, harmonic balancer, the pulley. We're going to do that in the Tamiya semi-gloss black, the LP5. And these items here, we're doing the cylinder head, throttle body, front timing cover, and our oil pan. This is going to be done in flat aluminum. So that is LP38. And the engine block, water pump, oil filter housing, and valve cover assemblies, those are going to be done in Mr. Color Super Metallic 2. And the last part, the supercharger and the alternator, we are going to do in mica silver. So I wanted to split the colors up on this. I don't want it just all one color, just to let it stand out a little bit. And once we get these painted, we can detail this out. Like I said, this intake's got a lot of detail on it. So we can detail separate items like the fuel rail. We can put a little different touches on the water outlets and paint the fuel injectors red. Do some different things to it, so it'll look pretty sharp. This thing's so detailed, I almost don't even want to put it together. I think it'd be cool just to put it on an engine stand. Just the detail's unbelievable. Amazing job, Chris. Looks good. I might have to get with you and get another one of these, like say, just to put on a stand somewhere, because this thing's just really detailed. So anyways, so what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to paint these semi-gloss black first, and then I'm probably going to shoot them with the super metallic. I'll get these parts painted up, and we will bring you back and do some assembly on it. Alright guys, so assembling on this, I filed the edges down all the way around. I just took it on my flat file here and just run it across real nice. Just make sure I got all smooth surfaces. I did the oil pan front cover. So what I'm going to do is put the front cover on this first, so that way when I go to put the heads on, I just butt them up to the cover and I know everything is true, because the front cover on this is kind of going to be your main point of, basically everything's going to line up for it. So we're just using some super glue. I just used the liquid. It's the brush on style. Obviously the brush isn't in there, and this works pretty good. And we'll get this guy in here. So we'll just get this nicely lined up. We'll start at the bottom. So that fits pretty good. Give it a couple seconds so you can see a couple detail in there where the bolt bosses are. So that way we know we're lined up really nice. And now that the cover is on, I can bolt the head up just flush against that. And I know it's in the right spot. It's obviously very important to make sure this is trued up nice when you're putting it together, because once you put that intake on, you're going to notice, hey, it don't fit quite right. So now I got both cylinder heads on. I'm going to set that intake on just to make sure that it's going to line up good. Alright guys, we are continuing on our 5.2 Predator. Like I say, this thing is super cool, super detailed. Loving it, loving it. So I got my headers on, and I got my oil filter on, and my remote housing. So I just have to paint that yet, the housing, because those were black. And so I'm getting ready to put the intake on it. But before that, I need to put my coolant hose on. This will be where your thermostat's at and all that good stuff. So he has on here, there's a hole here that comes out of the water pump. There's a hole here in this left head. So on here, let's see which way we're gonna go here. So there's a hole here. I don't know if you can really see that or not. There's a hole right there. And there's a hole right there. So this one's gonna go on the head. This one's gonna go on the front of the block. So this should sit roughly like so. So that's gonna go on the water pump right there. Now it's gonna sit on the head. That's how that sits. So I'm just going light with it. So just gonna put a little tab here. A little bit on the front. And how do we have this here? We have the right way. Yes, we do. So like I say, it's gonna go like so, like that. I'm gonna bring the front down to the water pump. It's like so. I'm using that super glue. That's funny, it don't work. Next thing oh, it's down. I mean, we're bonded. So my intake should sit right over top of that. So that should look pretty neat. And I'm gonna take these valve covers. On the original ones, original engine, the valve cover is actually black where it says power by Ford. This is black around here. So I'm going to do that. So this isn't the like the Ford Racing Performance one, because the Performance one has a twin throttle body, and they have a little different valve cover because it says, I believe it says Ford Performance, and those valve covers are, I think, like black, blue, and red. But either way, it's a Predator engine, so it's cool no matter what. No matter what version it is. The other thing I got to figure out is what to do for running for belts. I probably should do that before I put that throttle on there. I should get a belt diagram and look at that, and probably should have put that on before I did this. Probably, but you know, if there's a hard way, I'll find it. So, all right, so I'll see. Let me look up a belt diagram and put this on. I guess before I do that, I need to get the alternator on. So the alternator on a Predator engine sits on the left front bottom. So like I say, we got that all painted up nice. And that guy's gonna ride right about down here somewhere. So we're gonna put a little glue in there and tack him in. Yeah guys, so I mean, these resin engines are pretty cool. I'm really digging this one. This is like really nice looking. Really nice. So this is my first resin engine I put together. Yeah, I see a lot of guys putting them together out there, and they look really super cool. We'll pull that forward just a little bit to line up the belt. That's probably going to ride off this front belt here. So I'm going to put just a little tack of super glue on there, a little CA. I just use the old toothpick, just let it run down. And these are fragile, because I know, because I just dropped this a little bit ago and it made mess on the floor. It go boom and fall down. Not my proudest moment. So it's going to line up with that. Alternator is in place. And I think from this point I'm going to go look up a belt diagram. So I'll be back and I'll see what I can come up with for that. Alright guys. So I had to go, and I don't have internet out here. I barely got it in the house, but I definitely don't have it in my model room outside here. So working at the dealership through Ford, they give us an app through Ford website we can use on our cell phones. So it's kind of nice, because as long as I got a VIN number, I can pull up any information I want, stuff like that. So that works out pretty good. So once I pulled up a belt diagram, so I can see the routing of that supercharger belt. So the other thing I see I'm missing is I am missing an AC compressor. So we got the correct belts there. I'll have to put the supercharger on it, so we'll figure out how that's going to work. The alternator belt, that's not a big deal. That'll be easy. No! And we're back. Alright, so this is the alternator belt. I don't know if that's been a glare in there or not. So that should be pretty easy. So we got all the correct fittings there. So we're good to go on that part. Guess it'll be more me here, looks like. looking at my pulleys. So yeah, so that's pretty easy to do. All right, so what I'm going to do for a belt, I was trying to think what would work the best. And I think what I'm going to do is use the styrene strip. So I'm going to paint it black, and this will work perfect. So I'm looking at this, kind of gauging with the alternator pulley. That's like the perfect width. So that'll work pretty good. So I can just take this, bend it around, and this stuff will work pretty good. This isn't how it goes, but I'm just kind of showing it to you. So you can bend that around. That'll make a really nice cert belt. So don't take much there. So I'll just paint it black and get it flopped around. That'll work pretty good. All right, I'm going to get that painted, and I'll bring you back, and I'm going to figure out what I can use for a little AC compressor. Maybe I'll wrap something out of another kit here, or just make a bypass pulley for one or the other. So this is for the supercharger, and this is for the accessory drive, which is your alternator water pump, all that good stuff. So like I say, this is very correct here according to the Ford diagram. So you got your crankshaft, water pump, tensioner, idler, alternator, and then this is going to be the belt in the back, so this belt's going to go on first. So it's your crankshaft, AC compressor, which I nabbed one off another kit. That's kind of the closest thing I had. I actually took that off from a Thunderbird Super Coupe 89 kit. So I have to do a little bit of cleanup and stick that guy in there. So we got our tensioner, idler, and supercharger. So like I say, it's what I'm going to do is put that on. And so like I told you before, I was using this for the belt. So I think this will work pretty good. The styrene strip. It's nice, small enough size. So if you guys don't have these vices, I tell you what, this is like my buddy in this thing, in my garage here. This little vise. I've had this, it's the vacuum vise. So it's one of those that you stick down and you pull this over and it sucks it down to the bench. It actually still works really good if it's a clean surface, which my mat's not. So it was nice. I just took this styrene strip, cranked it down in there, and I took my, I used the Tamiya rubber black, the LP65, and just put it on, dips them in the brush, and just held this and just give a nice paint job both sides, and there we go. So it worked out really good. That way I didn't have to hold it. No mess, no fuss, no whatever. And that worked out great. So now, I try to get this belt routed on here. So this may be a little trick. Say this is something new to me. So I gotta get this AC pulley figured out first. So let me get this mounted and I'll bring you back. So please hold. Alright guys, we're gonna attempt to put this belt on. Don't know how good this is gonna work. Like I said, I've never done this before. So I got the supercharger put on. How cool is that looking? Come on, man. That looks good. So I took the Mr. Said belt and kind of snuck it through the top here. And we'll do the hard part first. We'll try to wrap it around that outside pulley. And this is probably a tedious operation. Just gotta go up on top. Just like putting a real belt on. Alright, so let's see. Take this guy, come around this way. And then we got to go around there and around here. Oh, this is going to be the trick. This is like on a lot of Ford vehicles. The belt goes through. F-150s are notorious for this, like the old 5.4s. The belt actually goes through the bottom side of the tensioner. So hopefully, looks like it, that there's a room for that. So like I say guys, I've never done this before, so I don't know if this is even gonna work. Just like that. Get that bad boy to the inside of the pulley. Should be good. Get that to stay in there. Okay, so just give that a little pull. It's actually tightened up pretty nice around there. Let's make sure we're on the right side of the pulleys here. I'll take this back and I'll bring it back in. Okay guys, scrap that idea. Oh my god. About to make me lose my salvation right there. So it was actually working really well. It was working really good. But as I went to try to turn it and tighten it, it started just breaking and snapping off. So I don't know, between the combination of the paint and this is pretty old, so I don't know if the styrene's just a little on the rougher side. I'm not sure. So I'm going to use my trusty rubber wire. This will work pretty good. So that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to bring this off camera. I'm going to spool it around, wire it up. Plus it's got a nice actual rubber look to it. I mean, the belt, the flat belt would look a lot nicer looking, but this will do the job. This will do the job. It's going to have to, because I'm about over that one. Maybe if it wasn't such a configured, you know, such a, you know, system. I mean, that would be hard to do on the cart in real life, let alone right here on a little model piece. So, I tried. That's all I can do. I thought it'd work. Like I say, it would work on a different style that would work perfect for that. But this is just too intricate to try to weave around there, go that route. So we're gonna put that on there and see what it looks like. So I'll be right back. All right, guys. Not my best work. Patience was running thin. That actually turned out okay. If you can see that or not. So pulling that through, it's on the supercharger, goes around and around. It's actually falling behind that pulley. So what I found out was working, and this may would have worked with the styrene if I would have just took my time with it. Actually, to put just a little touch of glue on the pulley, ride the belt there, just let it sit there and let it harden up. Go to the next pulley, just a little dot, and just keep working my way around. That actually worked pretty good. So I'm going to go through and hit this with a little bit of little places where the glue is kind of turned it shiny. I'm going to go back with the satin black and just brush that back to black again, if you will, and go that route. So, and as I'm pulling it around, the belt broke. So I actually have two pieces of belt kind of right there, which is okay. It worked out all right. So I got my little AC compressor on there. Yeah, so at least it has a belt, so that looks a little better. It's not the belt I wanted to do, but next time, now that I know, I think next time I'll try to do is I'll just put the front cover together and just try to route the belt on the front cover by itself, you know, glue the pulley to it, because that was all separate. And I think I can make it work that way. I'm not sure. But next time I'll try that. So, hey, learn as you go, right? So that doesn't look too bad. Like I say, it's not the best work, but it's okay. It'll work. So I'm going to go through and touch that up real quick and throw some valve covers on it. We should be done. All right, guys. So there we have it. One Predator 5.2 760 horse Mustang engine. How cool is that? So that's what's going to go in my street machine build. So I think that turned out pretty cool. So like I said, it's my first one, so lessons learned. Know what to do different next time. All right, I'm gonna get a decal for this, like Cobra decal, because that's where the real one's on the car there, so it'd look pretty cool. So now I can get it in that little bucket and do some radiator plumbing and put a few hoses on it, and I'll probably just put like an intake just coming down, like a K&N style or something like that. So that should look pretty massive sitting in that little narrow frame. So hopefully it fits okay. I haven't tried that part yet. So next I'll have to get that built and see how that goes. But the belt touched it off. That looks pretty nice on there. Like I said, I kind of wish I could have got my flat styrene to work better. But next time. Now I know, like I said, try to glue it first and then go from there. That seemed like that'd work pretty good. So anyhow. Okay, guys, I appreciate you watching and following along on this. Yeah, it was a little tedious, so remember when you're putting these together, take your parts, and like I said, just take a sanding stick and sand all your parts first, because, you know, these are resin, so if anybody that's done 3D printing or anything, you do have to have support sometimes, and, you know, and most of this was cleaned off pretty good, but just to take off the little extra, make sure it's flat, just run across a sanding stick, and everything fits together pretty good, so... Very nicely detailed, like I say, nice little design, little motor. So like I say, once again, this come from RAZNKANE over at Chris's little workshop over there. So excellent job. So now I just gotta get a transmission put on it and go from there. So once again, guys, I appreciate you watching and following along, and we'll see you on the next build. You guys have a good one.